Asante Sun Award. Looks like the words give us the all clear to have a tour safari today, folks. That means we can Schwinde, which is Swahili for let's go. Jump, everybody. My name is Sullivan. I'm going to be your safari driver here today at the Harlem Bay Wildlife Reserve. Now, before we get to reserve proper, there are a few things we need to go over. Number one being that I do ask that you please remain seated at all times, keeping those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the vehicle. And I also ask that you please do not whoop, holler, shout, or whistle at any of our animals. This is their home, and we want to be nice and courteous to them in their environment. With all that being said, we can officially head into our safari, and our first stop is going to be right here into the Little Ituri Forest. Now here in the Little Ituri Forest, we like to look out for animals that use their natural camouflage to hide themselves from their predators. So we're going to have to keep a nice keen eye out to be able to find everybody in here, folks. So let's keep our eyes peeled. Now, across the way, I am seeing an okapi hanging out right over there inside those tree lines. The okapi oftentimes is mistaken for a zebra due to the black and white stripes across their hind quarter. But they actually are not relatives of the zebra in any way. They're in fact relatives of the giraffe. They just like to wear the zebra pants sometimes because they find it so fashionable. Hanging out over there on our left side, that is the saddle-billed stork. That saddle-billed stork has an incredible wingspan of a whopping 8 feet long. That is right, 8 feet long. That is about the size of the canopy above our heads for a reference. I believe it'll be quite the jaw-dropping sight to see them with their wings unfurled. And of course, we do have these lovely ladies sitting here to our right side. Now you can tell that they are ladies as they have no horns. For you see, they are greater kudu females, as only male greater kudu grow horns while the females do not. We do have another greater kudu female hanging out right down here as well. And way on back there, I do see the black rhino chilling out over there. And the black rhino is the smaller species of rhino, only growing up to be about 3,000 pounds. That is right, the smaller species at 3,000 pounds. They use their prehensile lips to be able to browse for their food. And just knowing that they're smaller really makes you curious about how big their cousin the white rhino gets up to. We'll be talking more about them later on in our safari. We are going to continue keeping our eyes peeled right around this area so we can't find any more friends of ours who are hanging out over in this area. Now, as I did say, they do have incredible camouflage, but I do believe I see one more friend of ours hanging out here on the left side. This beautiful animal here with the red fur, this would be a bongo. This bongo is a secondary name of the ghosts of the forest. They get this title as they're extremely shy animals and are rarely seen out in nature, making it always incredible that we get to see them out here on our reserves. Now they'll use those rear back facing horns there to be able to push back the underbrush here in the Little Ituri Forest to be easily able to navigate.
Good spot.
But now, as we are heading up this hill, my friends, we are leaving the Little Ituri Forest, heading into our next area of the Safi River. Now, Safi River gets its name for its highly pure waters, as the word Safi does mean pure in Swahili. So, and over in this area, we will be looking out for some of our more aquatic friends that spend most of their time in or around the water. Just keep our eyes up here on the surface, see if we can't find anybody hanging out with us today. Now, hanging right back there in the back right corner, I do see some hippos lying down right back there in the water. Those hippos are able to hold their breath for whopping 8 minutes long at a time whenever they decide to go under the water. That's not quite the best view, so we're going to keep following this water right along this side here, see if we can't find a better sight of them. And it looks like we are in luck, as I am seeing some more hippos hanging out right over here. Now, what is so funny about these animals is while they do spend most of their time in the water, they actually aren't the best swimmers. So they actually prefer to run around on the bottom of the water to get from place to place. Which never made sense to me, because if you're going to spend that much time in the water, you'd think you learned how to swim. But Hippo said, no, we got this, and decided to run around instead. And then here on the island joining the hippos, these would be the pink-backed pelicans. Those pelicans get their name for their skin, which will turn a bright pink coloring during their mating season to attract their mates. I always compare this to how humans will blush whenever you find someone attractive. Though for us, it's not quite as intentional as it is for those incredible animals. now as we are turning this corner, my friends, I am coming up to what we like to call Croc Bridge. Would you give this bridge this name, as we do typically see the Nile crocodile hanging out right over on its side, and there, I see them right down there. Now, many people do know the Nile crocodile for its powerful bite force of about 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of pressure, one of the strongest in all the animal kingdom. But what many people don't know about the Nile crocodile is that they actually are very great parents. See, the female Nile crocodiles are one of the few animals that actually help their babies come out of their shells during the hatching process, showing beloved parental nature of these animals that many people don't get to see or think about. So maybe the next time we go out and we see these amazing animals, instead of immediately running away, we can instead think about what wonderful parents they are doing a great job pretending they're babies. Oh, and as we're now moving on ahead, turning this corner, I do spot the baobab tree. Now, this baobab tree is quite the spectacular tree, having not one but 3 names. And that is right, 1 tree, 3 names. Its secondary name is the upside down tree, given it to it by native Africans who believed that its roots were growing up out of the ground. And it does quite look that way, but don't worry, those are its limbs. It's just that those limbs don't grow leaves for about 8 months out of the year, which gives it the appearance that it's upside down. See, it doesn't grow leaves as it's able to store large quantities of water inside its trunk and root systems, which is where it gets its 3rd name and most beloved name of the tree of life. The animals will come to this tree during the dry season as a source of water, eating off of its bark, which is like a sponge. It's a really cool tree, really cool adaptations for it to have to be able to keep itself alive and all the animals around it as well. But it is also a good indication we're now heading into our West Savannah area, and I do believe I see some guys hanging out right over here. Does anyone guess what these animals are? These are the Maasai giraffes. These Maasai giraffes are quite easy animals to spot, as you can see, as they do stand to be a whopping 16 to 20 feet tall whenever they are fully grown. And I do believe that they likely saw us before we ever could see them, as they do have incredible vision, being able to see miles across the savannah and able to identify each other just by the spots on their back. For just like us people, each set of their spots is completely different, like our fingerprints. Now, when we do have a group of Maasai giraffe hanging out all together in large groups like we do out here on this West Savannah, we do like to call them a tower. A very fitting name for a group of these animals, as they do tower over all other animals out here on the savannah. Looks like we're having to go slow around this area, as they are wandering right nearby the road. And if we look right over here lying down, we do also see the African wild dogs. These African wild dogs are one of the most successful hunters out here in Africa, having about an 80% success rate. They're able to accomplish this by using their pack tactics and teamwork, as teamwork does make the dream work out here in the savannah, just like teamwork is very important in our conservation efforts out here as well, as we do rely on everyone working together. Oh, now he's coming right up close to his friends. What I always love to do when the Maasai giraffes get this close is look out for their incredible tongues. See, their tongues are a whopping 18 inches long, and I'm seeing it right there. I just find them so funny. See, they are prehensile and have that beautiful blackish purple coloring to them to act as an actual form of sunscreen, but they are eating for about 20 hours out of the day. And right back there, we also do see the sable antelope. Now, the sable antelopes use those long, rear back-facing horns of theirs to protect themselves from their predators, dissuading them from jumping onto their backs, as their predators are afraid to get poked by those rear-facing horns. Now we're going to go for another sweep close by these Maasai giraffes hanging out on either side. I always do love to get up close with the animals out here. I just find them so adorable. Especially these giraffes. And there you can see he's showing his tongue right off for us over here. Now another really interesting fact about those tongues is that they're actually extremely sticky. See, their saliva is actually comparable to that of glue, meaning that if a giraffe ever decided to lick you, she's prepared to be stuck there for quite a while. And now we are also seeing the Hartman mountain zebra hanging out with us right over here. Now many people do often beg to know, is the Hartman mountain zebra a black animal with white stripes, or is it a white animal with black stripes? Well, in the case of the Hartman mountain zebra, I can officially tell you guys that answer, as they are black animals with white stripes. So you can tell by looking at their muzzles. You see their muzzles are that nice black color, meaning that they are a black animal with white stripes. But if their muzzles were pink, then that would mean they are a white animal with black stripes. So that's a little bit of zebra trivia knowledge you can now show off to all your friends. As we are moving up ahead, I am seeing what appears to be another baobab, a couple more baobab trees hanging out right back there. And if we look closely at them, it does look like their bark has been stripped away. That's likely because some animals out here were wanting some water, and so began eating off that bark, just the way I told you. It's really cool how some of the things I get to say get shown right out in the front lines like that. Of course, there still are plenty more incredible animals for us to come out here and find, so we're going to keep on moving ahead, though maybe a little bit slower, as it looks like the truck ahead of us got stopped by an animal. Now, another interesting fact about the Hartman mountain zebras that we got to see is what their group name is called. Does anyone know what a group of zebra is known as? No? A group of zebras is known as a dazzle, a rather fitting name, as they use those stripes there to dazzle their predators, making it look like they're all one large cohesive being rather than multiple little ones, to make it harder for the predators to single them out. Oh, now over here to the side, guys, I'm seeing quite some incredible animals. I do believe these are the African elephants. As everyone see them hanging out right over here. Oh, and over here in this back left corner, I do see some movement as well, as I do believe I see the mandrill monkeys prowling around. Now, those mandrill monkey are the largest species of monkey out here in Africa, having about the males getting up to 100 pounds, while the females only get up to be about 30 pounds. Now, that's a rather stark difference between the genders. But what the genders do both share is that beautiful reddish blue coloring in their face. However, the males do typically have a brighter, more showy appearance, with the alpha having the brightest, most colorful facial features to distinguish himself. Now, as for those elephants that we saw, they do have two incredible adaptations in those ears of theirs. Number one being that allows them to hear great distances away and pick up on sound waves the human ear can't detect. And the second way, as we all know, is that it helps them fly. No, that's not right. Only Jambo flies with his ears. No, the second way those incredible ears help out these animals is it actually acts as a natural cooling system for them. You see, just by waving their ears around, the African elephant can reduce their body temperatures by a whopping 15 degrees. How nice does that sound? I'd love to be able to cool down myself by 15 degrees just by waving my ears around. I call it my natural ear conditioning system. And speaking of elephants, it looks like a herd of them has come through here, as we are seeing some goring marks in that red clay. Now, elephants will often eat red clay as a natural source of vitamins in their diet, so we're going to go a little bit faster through this area and see if we can't find that herd. Oh, and I do believe I see the culprits right up ahead here to our left side. And we're going to make one more turn and see if we can't find a better view of them, as these brushes are just blocking our view right here. And there they are. And it does look like we have two males hanging out right over here performing a ritual known as jousting. Those males do that, perform jousting as a way to determine who is the more dominant male. And they'll spend their time trying to push the other back in an assertion. They do not try to harm each other. It's more of like a sibling rivalry for those two, as those are brothers. And it looks like it was settled. I couldn't quite tell who was the victor. But as for this guy hanging out right over here, the one who was all by himself, now that is the alpha male. He doesn't play those little games with the young ones. He knows he's big and in charge. It looks like he's actually having himself a bit of a snack. And speaking of elephants eating, does anyone know how much an African elephant can eat in a single day? No. An African elephant can eat up to 300 pounds in a single day. A rather astonishing amount for these incredible animals. Oh, and I am seeing some quite beautiful sights over here to our left side as well, folks, as we have discovered the greater flamingos hanging out right over here on this island, having themselves a bit of an island party. And these greater flamingos do have the lightest pink coloration of all flamingo species, getting it from their natural diet of shrimp, which is high in beta-carotene. And if you look closely on the island, you'll see those gray puffballs hanging out right back there. Those are baby greater flamingos, my friends. Look how cute they are. Now, the reason why they don't have their coloration of their adult counterparts yet is because it does take them about 2.5 years to develop their coloring from that diet I was telling you about. Now, they truly do have one of the most appropriate namings when they're all grouped up together like that. Does anyone know what a group of flamingos is known as? No, not a flock. A group of greater flamingos is known as a flamboyance. A rather perfect name for them. Oh my goodness, guys. Now looking out right over here, we do see the white rhino, and it appears we have a baby white rhino too, guys. Look at her. Now these white rhinos are the larger species of rhino, growing up to be a whopping 5,000 pounds whenever they are fully grown. Now it is always incredible whenever you get to see these guys out here, especially with their babies, as that is a great sign that our conservation efforts out here at the Harambe Wildlife Preserve are working. For see, these animals are actually extremely endangered, for they were heavily poached for their horns for the longest time, which never made any sense to me. For you see, their horns are actually made of the same substance as our nails and hair, keratin. So it's like people are wanting to collect dirty toenails. How nasty is that? See, so many people mistakenly believe that their horns are made of ivory or other medicinally valuable materials when they're simply not. That's why it's so important for us to educate people about these incredible animals, so that we can see them protected out in their homes and here in reserves around the world, so we can see their populations come back. Because I don't know about you guys, but I love the white rhino, and I want to be able to see them every day. But now, as we are moving up ahead, we are heading into big cat territory, as we like to call it. So we do like to look out for some species of big cats up ahead, especially around this Kopi rock cropping we're beginning to see. There's one big cat species that loves to climb up on top of these Kopi rock croppings and look to search out for prey and water. We're going to keep our eyes right up there to see if we can't spot anybody. And I do believe I see the ears of one hanging out right there. Can anyone guess what this animal is right up there? It is the lion. The lion is typically less active during the day, preferring to come out at night when it is cooler outside to do their hunting. When it is time for these incredible animals to hunt, it is actually the females who will do most of the hunting, while the males stay behind to protect the territory and their cubs. Because that's them hanging out right up there. It looks like we do have some more white rhinos coming to join us over here on our side as well, including the water bug just across the way as well. And that water bug gets its name as it drinks an unusual amount of water. Now look at these guys hanging out right over here. Now, what is oftentimes mistaken and not known about the white rhino is actually the white rhino has very poor vision, only being able to see about 10 feet in front of their eyes clearly, with the rest beyond that being extremely blurry for them. So they oftentimes rely on their hearing and smell to get around. Now we do get to see that majestic lioness standing over her area. And now as we are turning this corner, friends, I am seeing some very large burrowing structures. These likely were made by the warthog, Africa's largest burrowing land mammal. They'll make these burrows as their homes to get away from their predators and the hot sun, going deep down beneath the ground and seeking out the razor-sharp tusks as defense mechanisms. And now laying down right over here in the dirt, we also do see the bontebok. So that bontebok is probably my favorite animal out here on the reserve, because he has an incredible story. See, that bontebok is actually extinct out in the wild. You can only find them out here on reserves or in reserves around the world, as they were hunted down during the 20th century for their furs, which turn a beautiful purplish color when the sun hits it right. But due to the efforts of one person, that is right, a single native African farmer, he was able to save this entire species by putting about 20 of them onto his farms and disguising them with the rest of his herds. In doing so, he was able to begin breeding these animals and distributing them from the reserves around the world. And now we are once more beginning to see the bontebok populations rise once more. A very inspirational and inspiring story for me, and I hope it's a very inspirational story for you guys, because it really does show just how much one person can make all the difference in the world for the survival of these incredible animals. So you guys really do truly have a difference in this world and can really make all the changes if you really want to. Now, as we are turning this corner here, we are now in our Magadi Glen area, as I like to call it. Here we like to look out for these little beautiful Nigerian dwarf goats hanging out right over here. I do find them to be such cute little animals. It looks like they've decided to take over the warden's post as well. I guess he's going to have to move. Now, all those Nigerian dwarf goats do appear to be small in stature. They do actually serve us a very great purpose over in Africa. For you see, they're actually very great milkers, producing a large quantity of highly nutritious milk that farmers are able to use to create cheeses on their foodstuffs to be able to provide for themselves and their families, reducing their need to rely on the local wildlife to survive. This just goes to show that even the smallest beings create great changes in this world around us. And if those little guys can do it, I know that everyone here on my safari truck can too. Isn't that right, folks? Yeah! The thing is, by all working together to reduce, reuse, and recycle all of our materials, and replenishing the world around us by planting trees and gardens. You see, conservation efforts don't have to happen miles away from home. They can happen right there in our own backyards. And that is quite the beautiful thought to think about, if you ask me. And thinking of beautiful things, it looks like we do have one more wonderful sight for us to see in the form of these waterfalls hanging out with us, guys. I do always love those waterfalls, as I find them so calming and soothing. They also are very bittersweet for me, friends, because as we do cross through these gates, that does mean we are officially leaving our Jambo Wildlife Reserve today. But do not fret, there are still plenty more incredible ways for you guys to go out and see our amazing animals out here in Africa, including our Gorilla Falls Trail right next door. Now that is a walking trail accessible to all individuals, wheelchair strollers, all are welcome. That is completely at your own pace, where you can see gorillas, birds, and one of my other favorite animals, the naked mole rat. Now, many people do make fun of me for liking those amazing animals, but I just find them so cute. But now that the naked mole rat scares you away from that, we also do have our Rafiki Planet Watch train right next door as well, which is a 10-minute train ride over to our Rafiki Planet Watch area. But now it does look like we're being cleared in for our departure, which does mean it's about time for us to say goodbye. But here at the Jambo Wildlife Reserve, we do hate to say goodbye. So instead, we like to say kwaherini. Kwaherini is a Swahili word meaning to go well. to Quackerini, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, and I hope you had a great time.